Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of the EcoSend podcast. I'm thrilled to be back. I'm your host James, and today's episode is going to be all about a topic that I know a lot of us are very interested in, perhaps can't even escape right now, and that is AI. AI and the world of sustainability. And I am joined by none other than Robert Keus of GreenPT, who is building basically a sustainable or a more sustainable alternative to OpenAI's ChatGPT. Robert is the founder of multiple businesses, including Brothers, GreenPT, and Accessibility Desk. And he's basically focused on and committed to revolutionizing the way technology intersects with society. Robert, I am thrilled to be talking to you today. How's your day going so far?
Uh, Thank you for having me, James. Yeah, it was good. Yeah, we talked about it a little bit too many meetings, but I'm really enjoying being here.
Amazing. It's a pleasure to have you here. Whereabouts are you joining us from? Where in the world are you today?
We are based in Netherlands, and then the
Yeah.
city Utrecht. I think it's half hour from Amsterdam.
Amazing, big fan of
Yeah.
the Netherlands. So this is great. So you are clearly a very busy man, Robert, with multiple businesses, multiple hats to wear. Tell us a little bit more about what you're working on, and yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. So a little backstory. I'm like from a entrepreneur, like from a family where my father's an entrepreneur, and I always wanted to have my own business, and I basically founded my first company when I was 14. It was a company. We were like repairing computers in the neighborhood. It was not like there was no social aspect of this proposition. We did it for the money because I wanted to buy an Xbox. Uh, that was basically the incentive of having this. But later on, like if we do a fast forward um, to after my student time, I um, we founded this agency and we called it Brothers. It was with the same friend I founded the first company in when I was 14. We were best friends from The Hague in the Netherlands, and we lived in the same street. And so if you have an agency or a company, it's always really it gives a certain satisfaction if you provide services somebody else is using.
Mm,
So if I build a product, a digital product for somebody, it can be a small website or app or whatever, um, and it's live and somebody is using it. That's
mm.
super cool. That gave us like a really satisfied feeling because you built it yourself. It was you explored the whole process of building this product. Uh, but like I don't know how we got to that, but uh, like a organization from the Netherlands, they contacted us. They are in the research in drugs addictions and smoke addictions, and they ask us to build a product for them.
Mm.
Um, and then after that, we had like even a better feeling.
Mm.
And we were like saying to each other, "Hey, we really enjoyed this product, and also there was a really good fit with the client and the culture we had in like like Sebastian, my former business partner. We had a really good connection with them. So then we decided to say, okay, we want to work for companies and products with a social element because you have like a sort of a double satisfaction feeling of
Yeah,
the result.
sure.
Um, and that was really interesting because, first of all, somebody's using it, but because of using it, it also solves a real problem. It makes impact, basically. So that was the moment we decided as brothers, like the digital agency, to focus on products with a social element. And from there, because we were in this social space, accessibility came around, which is still a really hot topic in Europe and also in the Netherlands. And I really saw like a demand at the governmental organization. Then we thought, hey, we provide the services from from the agency, but it was too off topic because the services were totally different than building software. So I decided uh, to found a new entity, set up a new
Right.
entity, and put the services, the accessibility services, in there. And so so. And
Hmm.
at both companies right now, we are with 35 people.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it was 2 weeks ago, 34, but new
Yeah.
hire,
Oh
35.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Wonderful.
spoke yeah, 2 weeks ago, and I said 34. And obviously, like as an agency in this time, when you operate in this, how do you say it, period in the world, in this time frame in the world, uh, AI is a hot topic. But for
Mm.
us, it was really a struggle. How are we going to implement this in our businesses?
Mm.
Because we also want to work for social companies with social products, and AI has a lot of value, but also has a lot of like gives a lot of challenges. Let's say,
Yeah.
let's frame it
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Um, Next to privacy, security, ethical challenges,
Yeah.
hallucinations, but also it has like a large footprint in the in the environment. We're talking about
Yeah.
sustainability.
Yeah.
So a lot of our clients, they basically didn't really ask about a sustainable solution, but
Mm.
they ask about like a more privacy friendly solution,
Okay. Interesting. Yeah.
which was not hosted in like the, uh, the like that the AI they use was not hosted in the US.
Yeah.
And so what we basically did was we said, okay, yeah, you can use OpenAI for Azure, and they said, okay, that's fine. So that was basically our way to go, was saying, yeah, we use OpenAI from Azure. We can put it like the service in Europe, and then it's fine. Most of the time, they already use Microsoft services, so that was fine. But more and more, I think also because of the political climate in the US right now, they said, yeah, I don't know, this Azure thing,
Mm.
do you have something else? And that was also the moment um, the open source models um, of the open source AI models became more, how to say, yeah, more strong and
Mm.
better, and they were challenging like ChatGPT for our own mini.
Mm.
And even the reasoning models, if you talk about AI, you have like different types of models, and one of them are reasoning models. Also, DeepSeek came on the market with their
Yeah.
open source model, and this was also challenging the large models. So, and also Llama from Meta. Meta also has like a really large open source AI open source environment and infrastructure. Um, so we thought, okay, so what we can do, we can go to um, hosting providers and ask them, hey, can you help us? And can you, we want to basically have our own AI. So we
Mm.
have like we have a proposition to our clients. So we can sell that to them. And basically from the agency, we already hosted all our stack at a Dutch environment friendly green hosting
Mm.
provider.
Mm.
So we got in touch with them, and we said, okay, can you help us with
Hmm.
this? And from there, like we did a lot of research to which kind of models which we could were the best for our clients.
Amazing.
So basically, when we like set this up, we had this environment and this API, and basically you need some knowledge to do all this. It's not really easy, but we were able to do it. Um, we went to our clients and said, "Hey, we have this API for you. We want to like change your OpenAI API, and we have our own.
Mm.
Would you like us to do that?" And they said, "Whoa, that's super cool. It's sustainable." So and we said, like, "Yeah, do you like that it's sustainable?" They said, "Yes, that's like it's better than that. It's we like that more than the privacy thing. That I think that's really cool."
Amazing.
And that was
Okay.
the thing that I pitched this, and I showed this like internal API we use for our clients to other clients, and everybody said, "Hey, this is super super cool."
Yeah.
So then I thought, okay, so many people are, yeah, their reaction is so positive. Let's build a product around it, and let's see if, and also open up our API. And I think now, yeah, we released it now 6 weeks ago,
Amazing.
and yeah, that's a little bit the backstory about
Yeah.
how
Robert,
everything went.
that's
Yeah,
incredible. Like,
yeah,
I feel
yeah.
like in about 10 minutes you've given me at least from the age of 14 to now your whole story, which is incredible. So
Not my
I think
personal life. I have a
no,
lot of
yeah, yeah, none of the
none of
personal life stuff. None of that none of that nonsense.
another podcast.
Yeah. What a story though. There's so much in there that resonates for me as well. Like I think maybe similar paths we've been on in different countries, and starting young and getting this joy out of building things on the web, and I share that whole incredibly fulfilling sense of when you've built something and other people find it useful, and I think that's one of the wonderful things about the web, more so maybe today than ever, where anyone can build a website or a tool and see other people get value of it, and you don't really have to ask for permission to do that. You can just go and do it, and it's incredible to hear how that's been that spark for you that you got you started. And it's interesting as well, like hugely respect your focus on accessibility as well. Like that's these fields of sustainability, accessibility, and ethics, and all of these worlds are like they're not totally separate from each other. I think they
Mhm.
really overlap with each other, and it's just so interesting to hear like your work across those different disciplines. And now, I mean, gosh, I don't think there's been quite a hot topic like AI that I've ever seen before. I think we're
Mhm.
far beyond this being a buzzword, and there's so many small and huge questions about the consequences of AI going forward. But I think one thing I'm sure a lot of our listeners would be thinking of is the sustainability side of AI. I think arguably if there's one good thing about the sustainability space and digital sustainability in AI, it's
Mhm.
that it's actually brought to attention for a lot of people that our usage of the web does still have a physical presence and has sustainability consequences. I'd
Mhm.
love to hear a little bit more from you about like how big of a deal was that in your mind when you were looking at this? Like, how were you using AI yourself, but conscious
Mhm.
of the sustainability piece? Was it something you tried to understand did you try and speak to like any of the
Mhm.
providers about their own sustainability credentials? um, I'm curious, like how bad is it, and how how are there any things that sustainability wise that people
Mhm.
don't normally think of when it comes to AI?
Yeah,
But you,
I yeah, I think you have like first of all about sustainability and AI to keep it simple. Um, you first of all you have like the servers, where do they run? So hosting AI models, it's next to it's super expensive. It is also using a lot of like um, energy,
Mm.
and because of the like the models are really large, and if you send a prompt or do a request to a server, the server needs to do a lot of compute power to give their answer back. Um, so first of all, you have the compute power, which is really important. So if you talk about green AI, which currently there's no green AI. It's not there yet. So that's also something I would want to say. It's not that we don't say that we are totally green.
Mm.
And the reason for that is, so first of all, you have your question or your prompt to the server, you get your answer back. So the hosting provider is playing a large role in how sustainable your AI is. But next to that, you also have the training of the models.
Mm.
So what we currently do is we use open source models, but the training of these models
Mm.
are not trained, or let's say maybe rephrase it, we can't prove or
Mm.
that it was trained or not trained with servers, with green servers.
Mm.
Um, I know that how much compute power you need to train these models. Um, I can say that it wasn't trained on green
Yeah.
servers. I know the
Yeah.
new Meta model um, that they have trained this on servers with renewable energy,
Mm.
um, but it's still I still found it a little bit vague how
Mm.
they phrased this. Um, so that are basically the two parts which are really important in the energy consumption of the AI models. What we try to do is basically next to like hosting it is be really like doing a lot of research in what kind of models you want to uh, you want to give to the users.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it's always so we can currently we can run larger models than we
Mm.
do now. But in our research, in the research we did, is that the quality of the response was not didn't like gave the quality of the response was not that much better than the smaller models we use now, than using larger models. So
Interesting.
right now, so what I always say is 95% of the people using AI, they can perform their task with smaller models than
Right. Right.
when using like large models as ChatGPT or Gemini or Cloud. So we run smaller models. So let's say they are like twice or a third of like the larger models,
Mm.
um, that directly correlate with how many people we can onboard on one server. So more servers, people on one server, um, the more sustainable your product is. But next to that, so the decision of which models you use is important. Your provider, your hosting provider, is really important. But next to that, which is a really also large portion of sustainability, and that's also something we already improve but can do better, is two things in prompting. So what is really important is if you ask a question and you get like a large answer back, it
Mm.
needs more compute power. So if you ask a question and this question is rephrased in the correct way and it gives you a shorter answer, but it still gives you the answer you want, you
Mm.
have like a win in sustainability because you need less you need less compute power from the server. So
That's
what we are
interesting.
trying to do is to find a way where we where your answer is shorter,
Mm.
but your question is also shorter or like more sustainable,
Right. Yeah.
but you still get an answer back, which um, yeah, which gives you trust or gives you value, because that's a little bit of a balance.
Yeah.
We can always say, always answer in one sentence, but for example, but then there's no value for the user.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and also, what that's something I think we really can do better in the future, um, is like this was just about sending a request and you're getting a request back,
Hmm.
like a single request. But also the amount of steps you getting to your answer is also really important. So, for
Hmm.
example, if you ask AI to make a quotation for you or a description of your quotation, what now a lot of time happens if you use ChatGPT or Claude or other API API AI services or chats, is that people need a lot of questions to come to the correct answer. So
Got
basically, people are bad at prompting.
it.
So yeah, people are bad at prompting. That's they ask like really like yeah, I don't know. They have short questions without
Sure.
context. They don't define the role, etc. So that's also the reason you have a lot of like uh, prompt specialists
Mm.
out there. I'm not sure how it is in the UK, but it's like in the
Yeah,
Netherlands.
they do exist
Yeah,
here
do
too.
they exist? There are a lot of prompt specialists, and I think it's the interesting thing is that um, I think they can add a lot of value to sustainability as well because
Mm.
the the if they learn people to use less prompts to get to
Mm.
their answer, it has like a
It does
direct
have a
influence
yeah,
on
yeah.
sustainability.
It's a
And
really good point.
yeah, so that are the things we are working on right now, um, and I think that's yeah, I can tell more, but I think
Amazing.
that's really interesting. Yeah.
No, that's really interesting. I actually wasn't super aware of some of those things you said there, Robert. Especially around the length of response, and I still consider myself pretty a beginner on the AI side of things. So I'm learning a lot. I hope our listeners, I'm sure, are as well. Um, I was having a little bit of a play around with GreenPT
Mhm.
earlier, and I love the interface. And just for anyone listening who's wondering, like, is it something new to learn? I think what I found very interesting is it's pretty much it feels just like you're using ChatGPT, but you're doing all of this in the background to reduce the environmental impact, which is wonderful. One of the interesting things I noticed, you say you don't do the image generation at the
No,
moment, and I was
no.
curious, like that's clearly a choice, and
Mhm.
how big of a deal is that for us when because I know now with ChatGPT you can kind of just say give me an image, and they've made it very easy to generate images.
Mhm. Yeah,
How big of a deal is it for anyone from the sustainability side thinking whether or not to do that?
yeah. Um, yeah, so I think this is also a question. We thought about this
Mm,
carefully. So, first of all, to set this up, you also need a lot of like investment and
mm,
servers and etc. So we can run these models. We're able to do this. Not as good as ChatGPT right now because the open source models are not there, which are as like the quality they have. But even if you have the quality of the latest version they just released, you should ask yourself the question. I It's not even a like sustainability question you should ask yourself. Maybe the second one, but the first one is: do I always want to have a perfect image? Like,
mm,
does it always like? I basically don't see the value um, as as a company, like using this as a company for marketing purposes. If I see this like company using these images, and they use it in their marketing like coverages. I would say, yeah, okay, but I see it. I see that it's a perfect image. It is. You can see it in the skin of people. You can see it in the
Mm,
background. Maybe not everybody is seeing that, but I see it, and that's also from that perspective. We can't challenge them in the quality.
mm,
So because we are not like close to that
mm,
what they now have, because it's pretty good,
mm,
but still I think it's too perfect.
mm,
If we want to have this, we will give our users something which is not as good as they have, and it uses a lot of compute power to
sure.
generate it. A lot, a lot, a lot.
Mm,
Um, so right now, I don't see the value of um, of adding
yeah,
this when other
yeah.
people are like so much better in it, and even if we have it, I still I still see it. Yeah, maybe you can. I don't know. Maybe you can prompt it, like make it less real,
Less perfect, less.
less perfect. Yeah, maybe you
I,
can. I think maybe you can. I don't know. I didn't try.
I'll find a prompt expert to help.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
um, no, I appreciate that context there, Robert. I guess I know a lot of what we've been talking about has been the sustainability side of things, which I think is obviously incredibly important to our listeners. I think with AI in particular, there's this whole other question of, at least that I have around ethics and
Hmm.
the ethical consequences of AI. I almost feel a little bit like old school, even
Hmm.
talking about this in a world where, seemingly, if you at least read the headlines or pay attention to any kind of business news, like everyone's using AI all the time to do everything. But
Hmm.
but what are your thoughts on AI usage from an ethical standpoint in terms of the content that it is trained on,
Hmm.
and perhaps maybe leaning into the future of where does this lead us to, and what does it
Hmm.
mean for certain roles and jobs?
Yeah, I think that's a interesting question. So first of all, I think from an ethical way, um, I think what will be an interesting um, discussion, um, like it's more on um, a higher level, is as like a European country with European values. Um, I say UK, so
Yeah,
English also.
we're
Yeah,
still we're still pretty
it,
close.
yeah, it's pretty clever. You're a European country. It's not that you say you're not part of the EU, but
we
you're a European
actually
country.
we actually moved the UK a little bit further away. Yeah.
No, but as the European countries with European values, we should ask ourselves, um, uh, how are these models trained? And
Mm,
I'm not talking about the copyright material in there, because that's my second topic, but also about, um, are they all reflecting our values? And it's not only so. Right now, there's a large discussion. Yesterday. I was at a government organization, and they said, "Yeah, we don't want to use any Chinese models, open source." And I said to them, "Okay, but you do want to use the US models then?
mm,
What's the so um, because obviously, because in the US models there's also a lot of like ways of thinking, and also, um, which maybe not are our values.
mm.
I'm not judging, but it's more that I think that is a discussion
A really
we
good
should
point.
have, and it's the same with the Chinese models. Also have like values we don't share with
Mm,
the people from
mm,
the Chinese government, so or country, um, or maybe the culture.
mm,
So what I think is really interesting is because of the development, and it will get more easy to train your own models. Obviously, you need more and more. You need a lot of budget to do
mm,
it, but I think it will get easier, and the information to train the models will be there. I think it's also interesting that we also have like our European alternatives, like Mistral, for example, which is also getting better and better, which is more reflecting maybe our values. Maybe I'm not sure if you can talk about European values, but
No,
still,
I
I
see what you
think,
mean. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
It's a
yeah.
really good point, and I think the start of 2025 has shown just how much the world stage can shift under our feet, and yeah, perhaps some of those conversations about concerns around things being hosted or run by US companies wasn't really in the kind of, at least not in the day-to-day conversation if you rewind 5 or 6 months ago. And
No.
now you look at that, and I know at EcoSend we see quite a few customers coming to us just simply because we are not an American company.
Yeah.
And there's very real world impacts of that, and its impact on AI and the biases of any of these
Hmm.
models is, yeah, I think it's such a good point to raise.
Yeah.
And whether, yeah, so.
Yeah, and next to that also you have the copyright subject. Um, I read a tweet today, like tweet, or I don't have X, but I saw it on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Somebody copy pasted it like as a screenshot.
I'm not here to judge, Robert. I'm
No, 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 no,
not.
no. I'm with you. No, 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 no. But there was that the former founder, the founder of X. What's his name again? No, he sent out a message about that all the regulations and law around IP and copyright laws should get dismissed or something, or because then it will be easier to to train the models. But on the other hand, I also read something saw on LinkedIn like last week about somebody calculated how much it costs OpenAI just to license the data to train their models. That's the other thing. So if you get like a 40 billion investment and your government is also going to invest 500 billion in AI, why aren't you just can't pay for it? Right?
Yeah, that's you
Yeah.
raise a good point. You do raise a very good point, Robert.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's also yeah. I think it's interesting. On the other hand, yeah, um, um, yeah,
I this has been such a fascinating chat. The time has flown by, Robert. We've already done half an hour. I
oh,
didn't know if there was any final thoughts you wanted to share, whether that's thoughts about the future, thoughts about what's next for you, anything you wanted to close on that would be any hope for the
um,
future.
yeah. I hope there will be. I think that the hope is that I think um, we AI is already there for a long time, but uh, for us as like let's say the people using it in real life, it's there for a couple of years, and I think we still are in the beginning of everything. And I see that also as a good thing that regulation and the way we want to interact with it and how things will evolve, they will need to find their own path, and that will I believe that it will be a positive way. And yeah, I really enjoy it, like being here, but also from a GreenPT perspective. Yeah, we try to work hard to get like the most green AI out there, and hopefully we can also prove in the future that our models are also trained with green energy, and hopefully, but that depends on how good this goes, that we can help, or maybe we can also train our own models. But this is something which is not like right now. That is that yeah, you need so much investment for that. So
Yeah, you need some of that 40 billion coming your way, Robert, right? Yeah.
maybe 1%. I don't
Well,
know.
yeah, just 1% would be fine. Yeah,
One percent, and
that'll
that's
do. That'll do.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Robert, this has
No,
been
interesting.
such a pleasure to
Yeah,
speak with you.
yeah,
For anyone listening who wants to maybe go use GreenPT, where should they
yeah.
head?
Yeah, you can go to greenpt.ai. And
Okay.
if you would like to get a waiting list invite, you go to greenpt.ai/invite.
Amazing.
And yeah, we onboard, I think, the last 2 days already 200, 300 people. So
Amazing.
um, I think you will get yeah, in the near future, you will get an invite to the account.
Really
Yep.
exciting. We'll put those links in the notes. And
Yep.
yeah, fantastic to chat with you, Robert. Um, really great work on such an important space. I think AI is going to affect every single one of us if it hasn't already in some small and some big ways. And to see your stance and your focus on doing it right is just incredibly inspiring and heartwarming, honestly. So thank you for
Okay.
sharing your story today, Robert. I really hope other people will really enjoy this episode. So thank you very much.
Yeah, you too. Thank you for having me.
Thank you also for listening. So if you've enjoyed today's show, please let us know. Please tell your friends, family, colleagues, dog, cat, everyone about the episode, and make sure you're going and checking out Robert's great work. So thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you